Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new, but also welcome to a new speed build video. Today we are building a house from a reference photo, so I am going to try to recreate this house that I'm going to pop on the screen right now that I found on Pinterest. And if you watched my other videos where I attempt to recreate a real life house from a picture in The Sims, you might know already that this type of video is my favorite. It's so much fun for me to see how close I can get to the real house, and it's become like a challenge for me. I love to see how realistic and, as I said, how close the result is to the original one, down really to every single little detail, because I really try to make every detail like the original. And of course, most of the time we can just see the front of the house, so we can just imagine how the back and the side look like. But that's also the beauty of these challenges, if we want to call them like this. You're restricted a little bit on the front part of the house, but then you can do whatever you want in the back and on the inside too, so you're free to take some creative liberty for the back and for the inside, and that's fun. For this house, actually, the plan also included some pictures of the interiors, but I didn't really try to make the inside look like those pictures. However, I took some inspiration just for the color scheme. The exterior and the shell of this house are really simple. This is a very modern, contemporary looking house, but the front wasn't really difficult to replicate. There aren't any complicated details or shapes. The only struggle probably was a little bit the roof, in particular the roof on the side where the garage is, because the trims on that side are very thick, and I used the columns from Dine Out to achieve that thickness on each of the wall. I placed one on each side of the wall, but there was a little gap between the trim of the roof and the columns, and I didn't really like it, so I was trying to make it work by raising a platform to see if it would shift the columns a little bit higher up and close the gap, but it didn't really work. I mean, it's okay. It's just a little detail which bugs me a little bit. I know it's there, but probably it's not even noticeable from the pictures. But what I like the most about the exterior of this house is the big glass garage door, which I tried to recreate by using a window from base game, which is like 4 windows stacked together. And I thought it was perfect for the garage door because the final result is really close to the picture. And another thing which I really like about this house is the color scheme of the exterior, because it combines different colors. We have the white, the gray, and that orangey wood color. And also we have a combination of different wall textures. We have the wood siding, the stucco, and the bricks. And I think that this is what makes a house look good from the front, because houses like this with a mix of different colors and textures are the ones that I prefer to build, because I know most of the time they will end up looking good in the game too. Sometimes houses on Pinterest are all white sidings, for example, and they're beautiful, but when you try to build them in The Sims, they don't look so good as they look in the picture because there's no dimension, no texture, and so the front ends up looking very plain. So one little tip, if you're building and want to make the facade look prettier and more interesting, you can try a combination of different colors and textures which match well together. So you just have to play around a little bit with colors and textures until you get the best combination. And this, I think, really helps to improve the look of the building. In this case, as I said, we have the stucco, which by the way is base game, combined with siding from Growing Together. And this is my third build using that wallpaper, but I'm obsessed with the look of it, and that swatch also matches very well with the original one. And then we have bricks from the base game as well. For the windows, I went for the modern looking windows from Snow Escape and Eco Lifestyle. I also used one particular window from Eco Lifestyle that I never used before, and is the one that has like a little nook. I don't know how to call it, but has like a little nook, and it's actually really cute. But you know that the other windows, I use them a lot. Actually, for this house in particular, I also used a lot of furniture and stuff from Snowy Escape. You'll see when I'm going to furnish the inside. But what I think is you don't need to build a Japanese-inspired house in Montgomery to use the Snow Escape pack. Anyway, the front door instead, in case you're wondering, is base game, and I never used that door before, but it looked exactly like the one from the picture, so I went for it. And in the back we have a big balcony, and the door to the balcony is of course from Eco Lifestyle. That's my go-to door. I always use it, and I think that Eco Lifestyle, it's worth it just for that door and for the windows too. And speaking of the back, I recently bought the Perfect Patio Staff Pack. So I used it a lot here, and I really tried to make the perfect patio slash backyard for this house. You could see that I'm starting to do the back patio, and I tried to use a glass roof instead of painting the roof as I always do, to make it look a little bit more modern. And I love how it looks with the black trims as well, but I'm going to finish it at the end of the video because I was a little bit unsure what to do there, but I really like how it turned out in the end. It's the type of backyard that I imagine a house like this would have. Anyway, I think that's pretty much it for now for the exterior. I don't do much else. We can maybe move on and talk about the floor plan a little bit. The floor plan came together pretty quickly, especially the upstairs. And as we walk in, we have a two-tile hallway, quite long, and on the right hand side we have the garage, which I turned into a movie room or a room for teens to hang out. Then on the same side we have a bathroom and a laundry room, which is accessible through the kitchen. On the left hand side instead we have a little room where the bump out with the brick is, and in there I decided to put some gym equipment because this family is rich and they would probably turn a room into a gym. Then next to it we have a small office room. Then I put the staircase, which by the way is from base game, and I love that wood swatch. And the back portion of the home instead consists of an open living, dining, kitchen area, and we find a wall with big glass windows and a big glass door to the back, which, you know, provide a light and airy feel almost. And I forgot to mention that this house has 3 bedrooms, which are located on the second floor. Upstairs, there are also 3 bathrooms, one for each bedroom. And the first room that I am furnishing is the living room, because for me, most of the time, that's the room that determines the color scheme and the vibes of the interior, because it's the focal point of the house, especially in this case that we have an open space layout. Obviously, the challenge here is to make everything cohesive, so that's what I tried to do. I went for a very light and soft color scheme. I went for a color palette mostly made of neutrals. We have shades of white, beige, a little bit of gray, and also a little bit of black from the puffs and from the painting. And I love how this color scheme gives a very sophisticated look to the place. I have to admit that in the beginning it felt a little bit weird to just go for only neutrals, but I didn't want to break the softness of the color scheme with pops of bright color or with accent walls. We have accent walls, but they are still in neutral and soft shades. However, even without an accent color, I still feel like all the colors complement each other very well. And for example, we have the accent wall where the fireplace is, and that wallpaper also adds character to the room and gives some contrast next to the plain white walls of the house. I love the texture and finish of that wallpaper. And I love the fireplace area because I made a little bump out for it. So in this way, I ended up having two nooks on each side. I know that is not centered, as you could probably see, but I think that's also the beauty of making modern houses. Not everything needs to be completely symmetrical. In one of those two nooks, I actually did a cool thing. I made a built-in bookcase, but at the bottom, I custom placed those wood pieces from debug to make it look like they have some wood there for the fireplace, and it's something I never done before, but I always see pictures on Pinterest of these ultra modern living rooms and they all have a little nook for wood next to the fireplace. So I thought it'd be nice to have something like that in this house. It takes a little bit of patience because you have to dig through debug to find the wood and you have to custom place all the wood pieces one by one, but I think the result is really nice. Then I just put some shelves with some clutter. I wanted the living room to look tidy and not too cluttered, and the couches I'm using are from Snow Escape, and I mentioned it before, but I used the Snow Escape pack a lot here. Even the dining chairs are from the pack, but I really like that white swatch that I used. And also, I don't think I've ever used that couch. But as I said before, I think surprisingly, the stuff from Snow Escape is quite versatile and can be used in other house styles too. Then moving on to the dining area, I used the long glass dining table from the base game combined with the Snowy Escape chairs that I mentioned, which looks so good in that swatch. And to separate a little bit the dining area from the living room, I used those lines from Eco Lifestyle. I don't know what they're called, but I really like how, as I said, they help to separate the two areas. Then in the kitchen, I did this cool thing where I used that wool decor piece from Eco Lifestyle to cover the front part of the counters, and I really like how it looks. It's exact the same size as the counter, so it fits perfectly. But yeah, I decided to try something different because I feel like I'm starting to get bored with the kitchen because the counter options are always the same. We didn't get any new counter with the new pack, and personally, I tend to always use the same two counters over and over again. So I decided to try something different. Let me know what you guys think. Also, the other counter options didn't have the wood color that I was looking for, but that item has the perfect light wood shade. And the upper cabinets instead are white in their base game, and I thought I would go for a mismatched look. I think it's very typical of modern homes. And the counters of the peninsula instead and of the laundry are from the perfect patio, and it's the first time I see them because I just bought a pack, but I love the brick detail. I'm really happy with how the kitchen turned out in the end. I used the stools from the Desulux kit because they have that modern, interesting look, but my main priority for that big open space was to make it uniform so each area would flow into the other nicely. So that's why it was very important for me to find the perfect light wood tone for the kitchen counters that would match the other living and dining areas. For this house, I had this modern vision that I tried to convey by using a lot of sleek and minimal furniture pieces in very light shades. For example, I went for that table from Dine Out that you could see before probably in the hallway, which is made of marble and looks really modern and sleek, which I decorated using very minimal clutter. But also I tried to use more interesting looking items like statues, which make the house look very fancy and contemporary. Then I furnished the garage space, and as I mentioned before, this place was meant to be the room where the teens hang out with friends or watch movies with the family. We have a big sectional couch. Whenever I make these types of rooms, I always use a sectional couch because I imagine that people would sit all together to watch a movie on that big screen, so they need a lot of space to sit comfortably. Also, I used the biggest TV screen I could find, probably even the most expensive one, but that's okay because this family is rich. I mean, look at the interior of the house. They have so many expensive stuff. I also put a couple of puffs on the side for more sitting space. Then we have a table with some chairs, and I put some board games on the table just to kind of make it seem someone maybe was playing and left them there. This room doesn't need to be super tidy and sleek looking because it's the cozy room of the house. And I also put a keyboard in there, which may not be very convenient in a cinema room, but they just have it there so everyone can use it. And the other room in front of the garage room is the small office. And I think the plan calls it the bill area. I don't know why it sounds really fancy, but anyway, in there we have a table and a computer. I didn't put a proper desk, but I put a table because it fills in the space better than a desk because the desk is smaller. And I also put that sliding glass door from Snow Escape. Here we are again using Snow Escape, but I used that instead of an archway for a little bit more privacy. And now that we're talking about the office, let me tell you a little bit more about the family that I pictured would live in this house. So I imagine that this house belongs to a successful single mom who has two teens, maybe twins, but they have a very strong bond, and she's a super cool mom. She's a business woman who maybe is an entrepreneur who is very passionate about her job, and she has a little office in the house where she works from home when she's not in the office. But then she's also, a very cool mom. As I said, she allows her kids to have people over, friends over, and throw parties at their house. And I also imagined that this family travels a lot. Maybe the mom has to travel a lot for work, and when she can, she likes to take the kids with her when they don't have school. So they travel the world together, and that's why they have a lot of Japanese inspired things in their house. And maybe they visited Japan with their mom and they really liked it, so they have a lot of Japanese paintings and Japanese decor pieces in their rooms. The other room next to the office is the fitness room where I fit some gym equipment. We have a chest press and a treadmill. We also have like a cabinet which I imagined they would put some gym equipment, towels and weights, and we also have the water bottle, which I thought was a really cool, nice little touch. I also used what I call the gym mat. And then moving on upstairs, we have a lot of hallway space, but thanks to that big sliding glass door, we have a lot of light coming in. I really like how bright the hallway upstairs is. And for the first time, I used a chess table. Actually, not the first time, because I used a chess table when I built the Not So Berry house for my mint gen. But in that house, I put it just because it was a necessity for my sim, so she could practice the logic skill. But since then, I never used a chess table again. I don't know why, but I always forget they exist. And I think it's because in my mind, it's not a realistic thing to have in a house. Like, how many of you have a fancy chess table in your home? Comment down below, let me know. I understand having a chess board. I have that too, but a table just for playing chess? You must be Queen Gambit or something if you do, honestly. I don't know. It's something so not realistic to me, and I really rarely use it. but this family is rich and can afford to buy a fancy chess table just to play chess. Also, it's quite nice to have it almost in front of that glass door because it's very airy there and it must be nice to sit there to play. I also put a clock above it just in case they're doing something like a family tournament. They need to keep, an eye on the clock. And the first bedroom that I was furnishing is what I imagined to be the mom's bedroom. The color scheme is completely the opposite of what we have seen downstairs in the living room, because here it's mostly black with some blue accents. Everything kind of started from that bed from high school years. I wanted to use it so bad because looks really fancy, so I decided to go for it. And maybe the mom decided to change the color scheme in her room because she was tired of seeing just beige and white downstairs. We also have a blue accent wall in the back which ties in the blue from the bed and the side tables. And honestly, that wallpaper is so cool. I love the waves on it. And yeah, I put a black ottoman by the window, which has like that little nook that I mentioned before, and I thought it was a really cute touch. The other two rooms instead belong to the two teens, but I still kept them very neutral to make them cohesive with the rest of the house. I must admit that one of them has a little bit more character than the other one. Like the pink one, I think it's cuter, but you can still change them if you want and make them more personal as you play in this house. So I am now finishing furnishing the bathrooms and the bedrooms, and they're pretty self-explanatory. So I would like to mention just real quick that The Sims announced two brand new kits, and I just want to say that I don't know how to feel about that. First of all, because I'm really unsure how I feel about kits in general. I don't know if I like them or not. Some of them are definitely a good addition to the game, like the bathroom clutter kit. I use that all the time, but I really have conflicting feelings because I'm a huge fan of big packs, which give you like more than just some clothes and building stuff. And also sometimes I feel like some kits could be merged together in just one pack. For example, the bathroom clutter kit and the everyday clutter kit, they could have been merged together in just one pack and call it like the clutter pack, and that's it, without separating the bathroom clutter from the everyday clutter. I mean, it's still clutter at the end of the day. Just put it all together. However, the positive side is that with kits, they can target a smaller niche. Anyway, the two new kits which we are talking about are the greenhouse haven kit and the basement treasures kit. The last one is probably the one which interests me the least between the two because I never build basements and worn out furniture and clutter is not really in my style. It seems a fun concept because you can build, I don't know, maybe a basement to hang out full of loved furniture passed down throughout the years. So in this kit, we're going to see a lot of like grandma's old worn out furniture and thrifting finds. And the storyline is that every piece has a story and potential for new life. And it's really cool. And if you also feel like it is very much related to the concept of growing together slash generations, because the idea is to have objects which might belong to grandma or great grandma, and I think that adds a lot to the storytelling of growing together. Then we have the Sims 4 greenhouse having kit, which is the one that I'm more interested in because whenever I get the opportunity to have more plants, more building assets to create anything new in the game, I'm really happy. With this kit, we're going to get glass pane windows and doors to design a proper greenhouse. And funny enough, the other week I was trying to build a farm, like a proper farm, and I had a lot of space in the backyard. And I was thinking to build a greenhouse in the back because, it was a farm and I thought it'd be a good idea. However, it didn't look good at all. And that made me really want to stop building the farm. But now this kit comes out And it's perfect timing, maybe to continue my farm and build the greenhouse that I want to have. I don't know. I thought it was funny that I was thinking about the greenhouse and The Sims decided to release a kit about a greenhouse. Anyway, this kit looks very interesting. We have more gardening decor, which makes me really happy because they added a lot of different gardening objects like starter, seedlings, pots, hanging plants. So it's definitely a kit that I can tell you I'm going to use a lot in my buildings. And now that I'm done with the long kit tangent that I took, we can talk about the building. We can talk about the backyard that I am doing right now, which is the last thing that I did. We have a patio on the side, as you could see, that I made doing my usual thing with the awning and columns. Down there we can find the perfect patio couch and chairs, some plants and a table. And I really like the pathways that I made that leads you to that patio. And then also we have another pathway which leads you to the side of the house where there's a tub. And I decided to put a tub on a platform and place those dividers from dine out just to create a more private area dedicated just to the tub. And also we have those dividers, so from the front of the house you can't really see if there's someone in the tub. And I know it's just The Sims, they don't really care about it, but in real life you would have that. Then also we have another patio where I put the grill and a table, tennis table. I was really tempted to put a dining table there, but I thought they already had a lot of seating space. They have the table right there inside. They have the other table in the garage room, so I thought it was enough tables. Then the last thing I did was to adjust the front. I put a debug card in driveway. We have this big driveway in the picture and it looks too empty without a car. Also, I put next to the garage door a couple of plants from Eco Lifestyle. I was very unsure how to do the front of the house in terms of landscaping because the picture just shows that the house has a big planter with some plants which look like succulents. So I did that using half walls and I put some succulents in the front. And yeah, basically that's pretty much it. I put some more edges around the pathway just to close it off a little bit more. And we have come to the end of the video. So I am now going to stop talking, but the video isn't over yet. There's going to be a screenshot of the final product, so wait until the end of the video if you would like to check them out. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, leave me a like and feel free to hit the subscribe button. And we're very close to 500. I'm really happy. Thank you so much again. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!